All right, guys, so let's talk about the drills now. Now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna present you with 3 main drills that we're gonna use to directly shallow the downswing, things that we'll use. And then I also wanna go back at the end and give you a couple drills for the things we talked about earlier, a couple bonus drills for some of the backswing pieces, the wrist condition pieces, things we talked about earlier on, so you could actually practice and improve those. Now, in terms of a drill or a practice station to shallow the downswing, this one we're gonna do in this video is the one that I use the majority of time to start. So if someone comes to see me in person and they're too steep during their downswing, I would use this drill probably 80+% of the time, just to start to get them having a sense of where the club head is in space. Okay, now in terms of this drill, let's talk about setting it up first and we'll talk about how it works. So I'm gonna pull the stick out here. And what I want to reference here is my target line, okay, ball target line. So if we look at my golf ball and my target line of the 250 out there, and I just kind of pop this behind it, this is my ball target line, okay, roughly. Now the deal here with the stick is there's no perfect setup thing. There's a couple of checkpoints that I want you to use. It's more or less just there for reference. Now, if we use this ball target line, the point is the stick has got to go on the outside or to the right of the ball target line. So the stick, if this were the stick here, has got to go somewhere on the outside of it. It can go right on the outside of it. It can go immediately outside of it. It can go probably up to 2-3 feet where I'll be outside of it. The point is just the closer you are to it, the higher the angle is going to have to be. The farther you are from it, the lower the angle is going to be. Now, when I put it in, and I'm just using a range bucket here, and hopefully most all of you will have this even if you're hitting on mats. When I put it in, I mean, obviously I do this all the time, so I have a pretty baseline idea of where it needs to go, but I'm really just eyeballing it, right? I'm gonna eyeball it just like you guys are. Now, when I set this thing up, what I'm looking for here initially is really, I always use this as a checkpoint. So I will pose the club parallel during my takeaway position, which is essentially where I want to be, have the club to be during the downswing, and I'm giving myself a few inches here. So I might even pull this up if I wanna go a little harder. I'm really just giving myself 2 to 3 inches from that spot. During the downswing, I don't want my club coming out this way. I want my club coming probably just inside of my hands at last parallel. So I'm giving myself 2 to 3 inches from that point. I typically angle the club where it's at least that high, club parallel, or maybe even sometimes I'll have it a little bit higher where it's higher. So obviously I don't want it so low that it wouldn't even get to here. So that's the reference point that I would use from this point in time as about a stock beginning. Now the rules or how you do this is pretty simple in terms of goal. Simple, not easy, right? You're supposed to hit the ball and miss the stick. That's it. You're allowed to feel whatever you want in order to do that. There's not a right or wrong way. Your goal when you're doing this in the beginning is to miss it and probably giving yourself another form of feedback with mirror or video so you know that you're actually doing it. I don't care how you hit the ball on the first few swings. The goal of this eventually is to hit it better, but the goal of this in the beginning is did you or did you not shallow your downswing? Yes or no? That's it. And this is just to provide you a feel, but then another source of feedback to make sure you're doing it. So I put the golf ball in. And in the beginning, for you, if you guys are super steep, dude, I'm probably just making a couple swings without a ball in there. I'm just getting an idea of what does that mean? What does this club head feel like way back here? I feel whatever. You're looking for a feel or two that you can take to hit the ball, record it, make sure you're doing it, and then retain that feel when you go play. So if I put a ball in here again, you know, I'm looking for what does that club feel like? How does my body feel different when I'm hitting this compared to my normal? And then I'm gonna try one and just get a sense of, hey, what does that feel like? Now for me, that feels a little more inside than normal, but not drastic. I may have a small sense of the club head being a little bit more behind me than normal, but I'm pretty shallow as it is, so it's not gonna feel that different. But for you, in the beginning when you're doing this could feel drastically different. And that's kind of what I'm doing in the beginning, is I'm just getting a sense. Now when you practice this, and we'll talk about this later, you're probably not going like 7-iron, 5-iron driver full swing. You're probably going like a wedge, and you're probably taking half swings. Prove that you can do it from about hip high to hip high, and then maybe hit 10 balls like that, maybe hit 1,000 like that, but hit a couple at least, and then go maybe chest high, and build from short and slow up to bigger. This is station number 1. I would probably start with this with most all of you. Check this one first. We'll go into station number 2 next.